Hey guys, let's get more news about Miami Heat, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Miami Heat legend reveals hilarious football incident that made him switch sports. Known for his grit and toughness, Miami Heat legend Udonis Haslem, the Miami Heat legend, recently shared a hilarious story about his short-lived football career. During an episode of the OG show, Haslem revealed how a brutal hit on the field led him to switch sports for good. The former Heat star stated that he played tight end and defensive end in high school, and he recalled how he initially thrived on the gridiron. He was forced to quit because he chose to keep his business intact to maybe be a superstar like Shannon Sharpe. I could really catch a fade. I ain't just saying that on TV, and a slant. Now with defense, you'd get your ass lit up. I played tight end, defensive end and tight end in high school. Until I got hit in my and quit. Udonis Haslem said on the OG show the experience was enough to push him towards basketball, a sport where he eventually made his mark as one of the most beloved players in Miami Heat history. Haslem's decision to switch sports clearly paid off, as he went on to have a storied 20-year career with the Miami Heat. He won 3 NBA championships, and most importantly, was a key contributor to the team's famed Heat culture. He announced his retirement on the 28th of July last year after the Heat lost the NBA Finals to the Denver Nuggets. Sharing the court and winning a ring with LeBron James is all it takes for Udonis Haslem to share insights into the 4-time NBA champion's exceptional work ethic. He made this known during an episode of the Pat Bev podcast with Ron. We both had a front row seat to watch the best to ever do it. When he talks about how to last and how to stick around in this league, we both had a front row seat to Braun. Udonis Haslem said on the Pat Bev podcast. Additionally, Haslem recalled James' dedication to improving every aspect of his game. Notably, LeBron James set a high standard for his team by consistently pushing himself to new limits. Moreover, Haslem recounted a conversation with James in which James promised to ensure his teammates got their money's worth after they took pay cuts to bring him to Miami. This attitude clearly demonstrates why many consider James one of the greatest players in NBA history. Blockbuster trade would send Jamal Murray to Miami Heat. The best word to describe the Miami Heat at the moment would be stagnant. It certainly feels like the franchise have stood still while others around them have sprinted ahead this offseason. The Philadelphia 76ers signed Paul George. The New York Knicks added Mikal Bridges. The Boston Celtics are the defending champions. As for the Heat, their most significant addition this offseason has been Alec Burks. Do not get us wrong, the 33-year-old is a solid player. But is he a game-changer who will turn them into contenders? Definitely not. In fact, the Heat roster is probably weaker now, having seen Caleb Martin leave for the 76ers this summer. So, it is clear that the Heat need to make something happen. They are not the only ones on that boat though. The Denver Nuggets, against whom the Heat lost the NBA Finals in 2023, find themselves in a similar situation just a year after winning their first-ever ring. They have seen some key players from their championship-winning side move on recently, while plenty of other teams seem to have moved ahead of them in the NBA pecking order. Could it all lead to them considering a blockbuster trade to shake things up? On Fadeaway World, Ishan Bhattacharya proposed a 3-team trade that would see the Heat receive Jamal Murray, Kelly Olynyk and Julian Strawther. The Nuggets would get Tyler Herro, Nikola Jovic, Josh Richardson and 2029 first-round pick, MIA. The Toronto Raptors would acquire Duncan Robinson, 2026 second-round pick, LAL, and 2031 second-round pick, DEN. Regarding the trade, Bhattacharya wrote, "The likelihood of the Nuggets breaking up the Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray duo is nearly zero, but it's interesting to see what the Nuggets could try to fetch in hypothetical deals made by fans." This deal gets the Nuggets robust rotational depth while adding a pick, with the Heat adding multiple win-now pieces in a deal also featuring the Raptors. Of course, that is an ambitious trade suggestion, to say the least, and it is more than likely that the Nuggets would try to stick with the duo of Jokic and Murray, a player who they drafted in 2016 with the 7th overall pick. After being acquired from the Charlotte Hornets prior to this year's NBA trade deadline, Terry Rozier's half-season stint with the Miami Heat didn't go as planned. It took some time to work Rozier into the Heat's system, and when he finally got into a groove, he ultimately suffered a season-ending neck injury. He missed the last 4 regular season games along with 2 play-in and 5 postseason games. Rozier was acquired in exchange for the declining Kyle Lowry and a first-round draft pick. The deal provided a breath of relief and optimism for a Heat squad in desperate need of a scoring jolt. It was the first trade in bringing in a new player since 2021 with Victor Oladipo. Recently, Hoops Hype published an article ranking all the league's starting point guards heading into the 2024-25 season. Surprisingly, Rozier was ranked 28th out of 30. They are essentially noting that he is the second-worst starting point guard in the NBA, with players like Emmanuel Quickley and D'Angelo Russell ahead of him. Even worse, Jalen Suggs, Josh Giddey and an aging Mike Conley were also ahead of him. All averaged around just 12 points. Rozier finished last season averaging 19.8 points, 5.6 assists, 4.0 rebounds and 1.0 steals on 44.3% shooting and 36.3% from three-point range in 61 games with the Hornets and Heat. The change in scenery, system and role going from Charlotte to Miami impacted Rozier's performance. He initially took quite a dip in his individual statistics, but finally got comfortable during a 5-game stretch later in the year where he averaged nearly 30 points on efficient shooting and clutch buckets. Before he arrived in South Beach, Rozier was averaging a career-high 23.2 points and 6.6 assists on 45.9% shooting. With the early season injury to LaMelo Ball at point guard for the Hornets, Rozier found himself playing as the number 1 option. Playing next to established scorers like Jimmy Butler, Bam Adebayo, and Tyler Herro slid him to a 3rd/4th option offensively. The vision of Rozier providing a difference as another scorer and playmaker was certainly there until the injury cut his season short. He still played more and better statistically than a guy like Marcus Smart, who was hurt for most of the season and ranked above Rozier in this article, too. Celtics legend asks Miami Heat to trade for Giannis Antetokounmpo. The Miami Heat will rely on their team more than ever this season, and now they say the team needs to go after Giannis Antetokounmpo for help. The team tried to make a splash several times over the summer by going after Lauri Markkanen, and now says that if the team wants to return to greatness soon, signing Giannis is the only option. The only way I see the Miami Heat getting back to where they need to be is if they can find a way to get Giannis there, he recently told the Ticket and Turf podcast. Naturally, he was asked if he had any inside information that Miami Heat was planning to invest, but he said, "No, I'm just putting my Miami Heat hat on and trying to say this is the best-case scenario." Following the comments, Give Me Sport proposed a trade in which the Miami Heat could sign Giannis, but they would actually be saying goodbye to their future assets. Miami Heat receives Giannis Antetokounmpo. This isn't the first time Giannis to the Miami Heat has been mentioned. In February of this year, The Athletic reported that the Miami Heat consider signing Giannis their dream scenario. So the franchise clearly thought of the idea, or at least thought about it. Giannis is in the final year of his current $228 million contract and has a 3-year, $175.3 million maximum contract extension waiting to be activated next year. The Bucks also got help for Giannis and Damian Lillard, so the chances of him leaving Milwaukee in the near future appear slim. But it's the NBA, so anything can happen. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Giannis Antetokounmpo? Leave your opinion in the comments.